When it comes to my favorite hockey teams, including the Montreal Canadiens, there is nothing more that I love than being proven wrong. And I know you can construe that in a pretty negative way. Of course, I don't want to be proven wrong when I think a guy is going to be good and then he's terrible, but if a guy is playing poorly and then all of a sudden he becomes great, that is the best part of being a sports fan, and that's exactly what we're talking about today when it comes to Montreal Canadiens forward Kirby Dach. This guy is proving everybody wrong. He's proving me wrong. Just a few days ago, we made videos on this channel saying, hey, I'm done with this guy. What the hell is wrong with this dude? What's his problem here, man? Kirby Dach. Should the Canadiens give up on him? This is a conversation we had a year ago. Kirby Dach is a guy who has gone through the ringer. And after that first round series game against Tampa Bay, where he ended up playing a significant part in the overtime loss in Game 2 because he iced the puck and then he lost his man and J.J. Moser was able to come in and fire it. Kirby Dach was under a lot of scrutiny in that time. We made videos saying, hey, this guy wasn't really doing much. Bench him. Get Veleno in there. Get Gallagher in there. And Martin St. Louis stood tall. He said no. This is a learning moment for Dach. Nobody wants to ice the puck in a detrimental moment in overtime. Nobody wants to be a disappointment to their team. For Kirby's sake, this is a chance to rewrite his narrative. And that's exactly what he did, because the very next game, Kirby Dach scored a goal and an assist, 2 points, as the Montreal Canadiens, what, you're going to say third line, essentially, with Dach, Texier, and Bolduc. This is when they really started to put things together. Dach had a 2-point night. He then scored again later in game number 5. And then he scored one of the only Canadiens goals in yesterday's Game 1 against the Buffalo Sabres. As we had noted, a falling down backhand flipping up over the goaltender goal. Kirby Dach is starting to look like the best version of Kirby Dach. And it's why you're taking a look at the RHAB subreddit and you're seeing posts like this get posted out there onto the forum. Conky Donk went out there and said, hey, Kirby Dach has earned his qualifying offer. Dach has to receive an offer of 100 to 105% of his current deal, $3.362 million. Before the playoffs, I don't know that would have been likely. With the cap going to 104 mil and how well he has played, Kirby is a lock for at least one more year. I think he just needs to stay at center and try to figure out how to become a Jordan Staal type of guy. And for the longest time, even going back over to 2019 when Kirby Dach was draft eligible and we were making Why I Want videos about this dude, there was a time frame where Dach was seen as a top 2, top 3 prospect. The fact that he actually did go 3rd overall to Chicago at the 2019 draft was kind of a surprise. There was a lot of conversation saying that Alex Turcotte would go 3rd instead because Chicago would go with the guy that's technically from Chicago. But nah, the Blackhawks took Kirby Dach, who was ranked from the 5 to 8 range by various scouting outlets. So even though he started out the year as a potential top 3 guy and fell, he ended up actually being taken top 3, much to the surprise of most NHL fans. But back in the time frame of us making Why I Want videos and discussing what Kirby Dach was supposed to be, the main comparable was always Ryan Getzlaf, a big center with hands of gold, very soft, pillow-like hands that could make really nice, quick passes and just control the puck in a very elegant way. Ryan Getzlaf was never a super productive goal scorer, but this is a guy who would reach 90-something points and 80-something points and 70-something points once in a while. A very productive NHL playmaker, and when he's playing with a guy like Corey Perry, Ryan Getzlaf is going out there and racking up all the assists. Kirby Dach was supposed to have a similar type of playmaking mold, especially if you looked at what he was able to do in Saskatoon in his draft-eligible season. He then played in Chicago the next year, had more assists than he did goals, but then just had to deal with a bunch of injuries throughout the next few years. It was not smooth for Kirby Dach. He missed time due to injuries at the World Juniors. He missed time due to other injuries throughout the years. He had 58 games played with Montreal in 23, 2 games played in 24, 57 in 25, and only 37 in 26. There was never an instance where Kirby Dach was 100% healthy throughout the course of the year in Montreal. But now, not necessarily saying that he's healthy, that's the issue here, but now that he's gotten a chance to get his feet wet in the Stanley Cup Playoffs, this has been a really good coming out party for Kirby Dach. Might I remind you, the only other time Dach was in the playoffs actually playing games was back in the 2020 bubble playoffs, where Chicago, I believe they beat, was it Edmonton in the play-in series? Something like that. They still had Jonathan Taves at that time, and it was a pretty tough matchup. I think it was either Edmonton or Arizona. Now I'm curious. 2020 Stanley Cup playoff, or actually no, we can just go over to Kirby Dach and look at his game log here. 2019-20. Yeah, so Chicago beat Edmonton in that first round, or not first round, the play-in series, excuse me, before losing to Vegas in 5 in the actual first round. Kirby Dach had a pretty good coming out party with overall production there, 6 points, 9 games played. Might I remind you, he was 18, so Dach has some playoff pedigree that we are now starting to see in Montreal. If he can round out his game to become more like a Jordan Staal-esque player, 6'4", 220, left-handed guy, a defensive center, face-off specialist, and PK guy, who at one point was a pretty productive player, but never really was the most productive. I mean, Jordan Staal had 50 points in 62 games with Pittsburgh 14 years ago. It's not like he was the most productive guy, but he's very consistent and very reliable, and the captain of Carolina, they all love him over there, right? So there's a lot to like out of Jordan Staal. I would hope that a guy like Kirby Dach could display more of an offensive touch long-term, but still, getting to the status of Jordan Staal, where he has literally gone out there and played 1,400 NHL games, I'd say that's a pretty good mark for anybody to aim for, especially a guy like Dach who has missed so much time. But make no mistake about it, my friends, this guy has been playing so much better over the past few weeks. Ever since that Game 2 blunder versus Tampa, Dach has been proving that he belongs. And now, the conversation on his qualifying offer seems like a slam dunk decision here. Darth McCub says, I would like to see a healthy season from Dach. Lord Vesperion says, I was among his biggest detractors, but after what I've seen from him in the playoffs, I'd give him a chance for 1 to 2 years. I never thought they weren't qualifying him as a 25-year-old RFA. I don't know if he gets another crack with the Habs next season, but he may, he's playing well, but it's a low-risk proposition to another team, and his trade value is probably a little above 0. Well, his trade value definitely isn't 0 after these playoffs. You do have some highlights as to what prevents Kirby Dach's name from being a slam dunk QO player. Bushband says, I wouldn't say he has earned it, quote unquote. He had 15 points in the regular season and was injured again, missing a significant amount of games for the 4th year in a row since he's been here. He's inconsistent. You don't give out contracts based off of a few good playoff games. If anything, he should be signed for less than his QO for a 1-year deal. The Habs just paid Texier 2.5, and I wouldn't pay Dach more than that. So there is some feedback that goes in the more negative direction here. Essentially what that boils down to is they want to see more out of this guy. For what it's worth, right now he's been playing very well. If Dach continues scoring at a half a point a game clip, let's say the Canadiens find a way to get over the hurdle that is the Buffalo Sabres, and Dach completely shows up, and he's one of the main driving forces for Montreal offense, then I think it'd be a lot easier for Montreal to say, yeah, screw the regular season inconsistency and all the injuries, you've earned it. If Montreal has some tangible evidence to work through, I think it's just going to go out there and help Kirby Dach and his overall case. But what do you think? You can let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. From Ryan Getzlaf to Jordan Stahl, potentially, from 3rd overall pick to Montreal Canadiens in and out of the lineup guy. Let me know your thoughts. How do you feel about Kirby Dach? Has he earned his qualifying offer? Are we being proven wrong? Thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. Sigh, and bye.